inside information at a very high price. Hey everybody, I'm Oli.
And I'm Alex,
and
we're Inside Information.
Today we'll be discussing Ponyo, made in 2008. Tell me about it, Alex.
So Ponyo, as you said, was actually released on July 19th of 2008, but that's only the Japanese version, because the American version, because it was released by Studio Ghibli, which is pretty known Japanese anime
Company.
type thing.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, the American version was released actually on August 14th of 2009, a year later, which I don't know why it took that long. I guess I do know. Dubbing over everything, but the people who dubbed it were actually incredible. It has Liam Neeson, Betty White, Noah Cyrus, Kate Blanchett, Blanchett, Frankie Jonas, and Matt Damon too. And it was directed by Hayao Miyazaki, who is a pretty good director. And you know, one of the protagonists, Sasuke, he was actually based off the director's 5-year-old son then, but who now has actually grown up and is directing Studio Ghibli films himself.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think that's pretty cool.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. And this film was actually based off of The Little Mermaid, which you can see but not really. Like in
Right.
some aspects you can understand how it was, but I just think it's kind of weird to know that that was based off The Little Mermaid, and
Mhm.
you know,
It's a very interesting
it's
rendition.
it's
Mhm.
just a great version of it.
Yeah.
And the director actually drew most of the animated water, which I think is very interesting considering how he's, talented in many different ways, not only in directing, of course, but also in drawing, because
The water looked very,
Yeah.
like, it was very real. You could see all the shadows. It was very interesting.
Now, to get into
What do you think about the beginning?
the beginning. So the beginning shows the sea, pretty much. It was just, with all the animals, with all the fish, to be more
Mhm.
precise, and just marine life. And then they show Ponyo, who, if I'm being honest, at the beginning, I had no clue who she was. I just thought it was like a weird deformed fish, which sounds rude and everything, but I just didn't know what to expect. This is her favorite film, so she can tell you a lot about this.
Well, it's not that she's a specific animal, because she isn't a fish. She's like the own little potion of her dad, the guy who made her. So, her and her siblings, they're all like
There are a bunch of little versions of her.
there are a bunch of tiny
pretty much
little
the same.
and they're all like carbon copy, like replicas of her. And they're all just like their own little animal. Like they don't have a species. They're just living.
Just them. They're
just them, and that's what makes them so great.
And yeah, so Ponyo is just there, and she's actually escaping to see the shore. I don't know, not exactly the shore,
Just the rest of
but
the
to
ocean.
see the rest of the ocean. So she gets up on a jellyfish and she starts floating up, but then she's actually trapped in a little
Jar.
garbage net, which the protagonist's father was actually part of working. Anyways, so yeah, she's trapped there, and she was put in a jar, and she floats up onto shore, where she meets this 8-year-old boy who's supposed to be in the film, I think. Sasuke.
Right.
So what does Sasuke do exactly?
Well, he takes her out of the jar. So he Ponyo was, her head was in the jar and she was all stuck, and then she was
Her
like, "Oh
head
no."
is like her entire body.
Yeah, pretty much. She's small, so
She's really small then.
yeah, it was like, but she had a big head, so it was mainly her head was all squished, and then she couldn't get herself out. So same thing. It's kind of like a pollution, like with the turtles type thing. You know how turtles get stuck in? That's kind of like that. So she got onto shore, and then Sasuke took her out of the jar and put her in his own little bucket. So
Yeah, he thought she was dead for a long time.
yeah.
He asked a few times if she was dead, but she always came back to life. Because I just saw that in the beginning. It was a recurring theme,
Yeah.
where she would die and Sasuke would have to bring her back to life, which I thought was kind of like, he's not exactly the best at taking care of a fish, but whatever Ponyo was. And so anyways, the sea sort of came after him for a second. Like the waves and all just grew towards him, which shows how the father was still intent on finding his child. And he didn't just not care.
Right, because the dad controlled the ocean. Ponyo's dad.
Ponyo's dad.
So
Do you want to talk more about what happens later?
sure.
Okay.
So what do you think when Sasuke lost Ponyo, like in the ocean?
Ooh, so that's a bit of a jump. And first off, Ponyo's dad goes on shore to try to find Ponyo. And Sasuke just brings her everywhere in a bucket, of course, because she's a fish. And that includes his school, where she actually spits on a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of funny.
It was
And
funny.
I thought it was well deserved. I didn't
Uh-huh.
like the child.
Yeah, he was a mean
So
child.
it made me pretty happy. Which I know sounds bad, but whatever. We won't talk about that. And anyways, later he brings her to the ocean where she actually gets lost, or lost, but not really, because her father's the one who grabs her and takes her back to her home.
Right, that's what I mean. When the waves came and then he was like, looking for everything, and then Ponyo like, just a couple minutes later, it was like time for school. So then he went, took her in the bucket, and hid her behind some leaves.
No, but he
So
lost her in the ocean.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, anyways, when he started crying, of course, and
Mhm.
everything, and he wanted to find Ponyo, but he couldn't, of course, because her father took her. And so Ponyo actually learned how to speak, which I thought was pretty cool,
Mhm.
because I mean, it's a fish. You never really expect fish to speak,
Not a fish.
and not a fish. I'm so sorry. Anyways, and so yeah, when she gets home, she had actually already eaten ham and licked the blood off of Sasuke's finger because he
Mhm.
had cut it a bit when he smashed the jar to set her free. And so yeah, what did she say to her father?
Ponyo?
Yeah, Panya.
She's mad at him.
She's really mad
She's
at
really
him.
mad at him because he's just like he's dead set on getting her, but she doesn't want to go back because she likes this new shore life with her new friend, Sasuke.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Ponyo's dad?
Ponyo's dad? Ooh, so Ponyo's dad is not really an important character in this film. I don't really think.
No, I think
Do you really think so?
I
Cause
think
he
so because
only
yes, because he would like the main reason why Ponyo was there was because of her dad. I mean, he doesn't show up often in the film, but like his like wants to like get Ponyo back, it really affects the certain like plots
Wait, are
in the
you talking
film.
about Ponyo's dad
Yeah,
or oh, I thought
Ponyo.
you were talking about Sasuke's dad.
No,
Yeah, Sasuke's dad isn't relevant at
he's
all
not
in this film.
there.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, he is, but he's not relevant.
He's on the boat.
Yeah, he appears like a few times though.
Morse code.
Morse code?
Tuk, tuk.
Yeah, but he appears a few times in the film, I mean.
Oh, a little, yeah.
Anyways, yeah. And so of course, Ponyo's dad was a big character. He really wanted to, keep her trapped in her own place so that
Yeah.
he could have his, just like every normal father wants their little girl to stay a little girl, but not really. That rarely ever happens.
It's not
And
like
anyways,
reasonable.
it's not reasonable at all. Anyways, yeah. So he tries to keep Ponyo in a bubble, but Ponyo actually escapes and transforms into a human. And there's a huge storm as she escapes the ocean to try to get back to Sasuke, which ends up almost drowning all their house and
Mhm.
like
It's like a
flooding
little
it
flood, yeah.
completely. And so yeah, finally then, Sasuke and his mom get home, but he finds Ponyo standing there also, and she runs towards him with the bucket that he had for Ponyo before when she was still a fish, and she gives him a big hug.
Mhm.
What do you think about that?
That was really sweet. I thought it was adorable because I mean, that's why Ponyo wasn't a fish because she became a person. You know what I mean? Like
She's a witch fish.
Yeah, she's a witch fish.
It's a witch fish.
Yeah.
Witch fish.
So then, um, Ponyo goes towards her, and now they're able to do more things together because now he doesn't have to lug around a pail. They can just like
Walk, and
they
she
can
starts
walk and
playing
have,
around in their house.
yeah, and they have like their own little. And since Ponyo doesn't have a dad, she just stays, or a dad on land.
Yeah.
She just stays in Sasuke's house with his mom.
Yeah.
So they're like forever buddies.
And Sasuke's mom, did she actually believe him when
No.
he said that was Ponyo?
No way.
I was confused by that. Anyways,
I think it was more like, oh yeah, that's
just
Ponyo.
playing
and you're
along
like,
with
oh,
the child, yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And anyways, so he does. They do stay together, and it's still raining. The storm is just completely.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. Anyways, so they're still going, and her mom actually works at a retirement home, so she decides to go back to save the elders. I think that's what she called them.
Right.
Yeah. And so she leaves Sasuke in charge of Ponyo. So when they stay home, they actually, I don't know how to put it. When they stay home, they wake up and the storm is gone, and it's all ocean.
Yeah.
Is there a specific word? No, there's not a specific word for that.
It's like a big flood, but
It's like a flood happened, and everything on water is on land.
right.
And like to the point where their backyard, they stick their heads in, and there's a bunch of marine life already
Yeah,
there.
and that's one of my favorite parts of the film because it shows like all of the buildings that were once on like land, and it's kind of like Atlantis type thing. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because with all the buildings and all the streets, and now there's like aquatic life in it. And I thought it was really interesting artistic turn for the story
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
because they could have just looked down and it been like muck and like broken things, but they decided to put like
Fish and
cute little fish
yeah.
and dolphins. It was really cute.
So then the witch fish, of course, Ponyo, uses her magic to create a boat so that they can find Sasuke's mom because she hadn't returned home. And it's
Right.
already, the storm already stopped and everything. But a little point that there was is that the moon was getting closer. Could you see that in the film? Because when they mentioned it, I couldn't really see it. So I thought that was kind of confusing, honestly. But oh well.
It looked a little closer. I don't know.
It looked a little bigger, but not really closer.
But I think it was just because they were higher up, so it
Yeah.
looked like it was closer.
Okay, and so then, of course, the whole point that they have is that Sasuke needs to really love Ponyo in order for Ponyo to become a human and everything else to stop, or else the world is going to be completely and utterly destroyed, which would be cataclysmic for just about anyone living on Earth. And so Ponyo uses her witch magic to make the boat that Sasuke had bigger so that they can use it to find his mom. So they light the candle and they start going over and they meet a few people and they meet a baby too. And eventually they say that they're probably still at the elders' home and they lead them over there. Well, not lead them, but just point them over there so that they can go. And eventually they do get there. And we see that actually Ponyo's dad had put the entire retirement home in a bubble underwater. Because it would have already been flooded. It would have sunk.
Right.
Anyways, but he protected it with a bubble, which I thought was really sweet of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the old ladies are actually just rejuvenated because of like their whole back, and because the old ladies were in wheelchairs, and so they were actually able to stand up and walk normally instead of actually having to be pushed around in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I think that was part of the magic of like making everything into a bubble that happened with that.
Yeah, bubbles make people walk again.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Like the spring in the Bible. Anyways, whatever. We are. Sorry. Where was I?
With the bubble?
Oh, with the bubbles, right. And so later, then he finds Ponyo and Sasuke coming close. But Ponyo spits in her father's face, which is completely disrespectful and not accepted at all.
Nope.
Now the child should go somewhere. Adoption center.
Away.
Adoption center.
Yeah.
For disrespecting her father like that. So rude and so juvenile. Thought she was mature. And anyways, then eventually Ponyo and Sasuke are brought down to the place. And that's when they have a whole conversation and they find out about what Ponyo has to do to turn into a human, where she has to kiss Sasuke in order to turn into a human completely, because she turned back into a fish later.
Right.
Well, after that, because I think all her magic got drained. Turning the boat into a bigger boat and everything. So yeah, of course she got drained and they had to share a kiss, but then they brought the retirement home back on land.
Yeah, because I think the kiss was like because remember
It
she was
had
in
to
a bubble.
be on land.
Right, it had to be on land.
It had to be on land. And so they brought the retirement home to the land, of course. There they saved the old ladies who can now all walk again, which is great for them. And Sasuke is holding Ponyo, who jumps out of the bucket and kisses him, and she turns back into a human. And that's pretty much how the film ends.
Yeah.
What do you think about that ending?
I thought it was really cute. I thought it was like a happily ever after. And you can definitely see like the correlations between
The Little
Mermaid and
yeah,
Ponyo,
you definitely can.
because like the whole kiss thing, but it's also like they're kids, and it's different, but
it's much different, but it's not.
right. It's difficult.
It's weird.
But I thought the ending was great. It was a really happy ending, and Ponyo's mom and Sasuke's dad, like they all were one big happy family, and they were able to be on land together and play with each other.
And so, what would you rate this film on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, it's my favorite movie, so I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10. That's just me. But what about you?
So I liked this film, but I don't know if I would say it was my favorite movie. Of of course. The I don't know. I just get kind of mixed up with the plot a few times, and it's just not that impactful to me as it was to her. So I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay. Well.
Guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.